Hi, welcome to LipOut with Latona. I am your host, Stacey Latona. And before I get into all the details of this gentleman, please let me welcome to the program, Sir Jason Langwell. Thank you for being on the program today.
Stacey, thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Very, very excited this has been a long time coming.
Yes.
He's kind of a busy guy. He has a lot of interviews that he does. It's like, we do work together, so I was trying to be calm about it, but there's a lot of things we're going to get to. So Jason is the executive vice president of Intersport in Detroit, and also the executive director of the Rocket Mortgage Classic at the historic Detroit Golf Club. And congratulations, by the way, on the extension to 2027.
Thank you, and to you. Thank you. Very excited about that.
Thank you. Yes, very excited. So there's 5 reasons why I'm excited to have you on the program today. Do you want to know what those are?
I would.
Oh, good. Excellent. Well, I was going to tell you anyway, but the first one is that you are the first male on the program.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you.
Very covetous spot. There's a lot of people clamoring to get on, and so you are the first guy that we're allowing onto the program. The second thing is that this is kind of a milestone because this is the 10th episode.
Oh.
So that's kind of a big deal.
Thanks.
And I'm also excited because obviously as you being the executive director, you have a wealth of information, a lot of knowledge that people have no idea. And we're going to get into that a little bit so they really understand what it takes to put this on and get a little bit of your background. You're an amazing golfer, and I jokingly say you should change your last name to Landwell over Langwell, but it's true. You're a really, really good golfer, and you're kind to women on the golf course. This I know. And the fifth one, I'm going to wait until the end to tell you what that's all about.
Okay, I'll wait for it.
It's called a teaser. That's what they call it.
Okay.
So first, before we get into all the stuff about Rocket Mortgage Classic and what you know, I want to know, when is the first time that you picked up a club, and who kind of inspired you to start golfing?
Yeah. So I fell in love with the game of golf when I was 12 years old. I had watched Jack Nicklaus win the 86 Masters with my dad. It was April of 1986. I was 12 years young at the time, a couple of years back. And prior to that, I had wanted to be Magic Johnson. My dad was a basketball coach. I loved basketball. I went to all kinds of basketball camps and used to follow my dad around coaching, and I loved basketball. But I then watched the Masters, fell in love with that, thought, hey, I'd like to try to do that. And so I grabbed my clubs and ran down to a local elementary school, actually, that had some field goal posts up, and I just took my dad's old clubs down and started hitting golf balls up through the uprights to try and figure it out. And so it was Jack Nicklaus and his unbelievable win in 1986 that really turned me onto the game, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Wow. I'm actually more impressed with the basketball thing. I'm like, you were into basketball. Of course, then back in whatever grade you were in, it didn't matter because you're not the tallest guy on the planet.
I was starting to realize that I wasn't going to have the height required. I was a little onto it, as were others. So that was part of it.
But they're like, you can do it, Jason. You can do it.
Yeah.
Anything you put your mind to.
That's right.
But that's true.
Sure.
That's true. So you obviously you kind of were getting the bug and you were getting into it. But like also what inspired you? Because I mean, I'm always curious how people end up getting into what they got into. When was that moment where you sort of went, God, I would really love to be involved in a more serious level? So you went on to play college golf, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So from a professional standpoint, was there a moment, or did you just kind of fall into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, I think if there wasn't a moment, there was a man, a mentor of mine who had passed a few years back. I named Dick Garn, started the world's largest amateur golf tournament called the Oldsmobile Scramble. And it happened to be Dick lived in my hometown of Coldwater, Michigan. And so growing up, I knew him as I fell in love with the game. I knew he was in kind of the business of golf. And I had interned for him for a couple of summers while being in school. As I started to kind of think about what I wanted to do when I got out of school, I was thinking about going and working with the PGA Tour, or maybe even continuing to work with Dick. And he was instrumental. I mean, he he made the business of sport, the business of golf fun, really piqued my interest. Took a vested interest in me, believed in me, and that kind of gave me the interest and the encouragement to get into the business. So I don't know if it was a particular moment, but I kind of recognized, my dad had given me some good advice when I was going through the process to, find your first mentor, not your first job, and bring the two together. And so he clearly was my first mentor, and kind of, learned me and taught me the ropes. And it happened to be in a field that I had recreational passion in, and over time developed professional passion with the help and support of someone like Dick.
Wow. Did you ever want to be on the tour?
I did. And I had the benefit of, and I, like probably many, grew up in, a little town in southern Michigan. I was probably, the best, if not one of the better golfers in town, and you're in the local newspaper.
Still is one of the best golfers in town.
You kind of convince yourself, this is going to just translate itself beyond. But yeah, I had the benefit of having a few older friends who had been through school and tried it out in mini tours, and I knew they were as good, and in some cases certainly better than I was. And if they couldn't make it, it kind of allowed me to come to terms with the reality that I might not be made for professional golf. So I probably saved myself some time and probably an uncle or aunt some money, not having to go through that.
Right.
For some
support you in your dream.
Yeah, correct. Right. And so I think, I didn't, I liked the idea of it, but I knew the reality of it probably wasn't going to be there. And so decided to be in the business side of sport.
Well, so now we're going to dovetail into the business side of it, because nobody has any idea how much this takes and what kind of effort and the things that you do. So I'm going to break it down into a couple different sections. And so when you first start out, because clearly there's a lot of conversations, and you've talked about this in the media before, but that have to come together, right? So the Detroit Golf Club, and obviously you're the title sponsor, Rocket Mortgage, and they're very influential and involved in so many ways. And it's kind of guiding that process. But then you've got the first piece of it after that happens is the tournament team. Mm-hmm. So what is the first thing you start thinking about when you're putting together your baby, I'm going to call it, tournament team to put on this massive event?
Yeah. Well, there's a saying out there that, kind of talent share leads to market share. You get more than your fair share of the talent, you can get yourself more than the fair share of the market. You look no further than, Silicon Valley and anywhere else in business, and, he or she who has the most talent tends to grab more than their fair share of the market. And so that's true, so in building this team out, it was, hey, let's go out and find, a talented team of individuals to come together. And, I looked for a partner of mine, I needed a partner to go on that pursuit. We had to hire, a 12-person team in about 55, 60 days, which, somehow happened. And,
and you got the best of the best.
We clearly, Stacey, have the best of the best here, as you well know, and I well know. So that was really the first piece. Go out and find, not just the right talent and capabilities, but chemistry, capabilities, and chemistry in a team make a great team, and we've got a great combination of both here. And so that was the impetus and kind of the approach for building out the talented tournament team that we have today.
Yeah. And so, but I don't think people, well, maybe they do, but we're going to talk about it because not everyone does. So not only that piece of the pie that you're sort of like building the office and have to be good at that and bringing all these personalities together. And like you said, sort of creating this environment in a very short amount of time to go out and win and get people excited about it because it's the first time in Detroit and people need to know about it. But it's also, you're instrumental in getting the field. That's going to come play, which is obviously the interest level, not only with the players to come to Detroit, but also people wanting to come watch the event. And I mean, it's insane. I mean, Bryson and Mickelson and Fowler, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's crazy how many amazing players that you've already brought to the table here. So explain a little bit about that process, because people that are way into golf are like, oh my God, I would love to go and have these conversations. But you're talking to the agents, or tell us how that works.
Yeah, no, that's right. So it's it's a team effort. So, we go out, players, we get 156 of the best players in the world that will play here. But they all have a choice on where they play. They don't have to play here. They have 45 PGA Tour events they can choose to play. About, at least for the top players, 20 to 23 of which they'll end up calling their home for 1 week a year. And so the question for them becomes, where do I call home? Where am I calling home this week and next week and the week after? And when you start to back out, 4 majors, players, a few World Golf Championships, you're going to play once probably in Florida. You're going to play once probably in California. You're going to play once probably in Texas at one of those events. Out of those 20 or so stops you're well into 13, 14 that are already accounted for before they even decide, okay, now where am I really going to call a home and make a choice? And so recruiting players, telling the story of Detroit, telling the experience that we can offer them, not only inside of the ropes, but outside of the ropes for their team, their significant other, their children that might be traveling with them, oftentimes do, particularly in the summer, which our event takes place. It's all the more important to understand that dynamic. And
July 25th, the week of July 25th.
The week of July 25th to 31st, that's right. So that's the big part of it. It's going out, doing the recruiting, telling the stories, and myself, Casey Herbis from Rocket Mortgage, Bill Emerson,
right.
Are just a couple of the individuals on the Rocket Mortgage team that, we go out together as a team to tell that story and make our pitch as to why Detroit needs to be one of the stops that they make on an annual basis. And we've been fortunate, as you said. We've got a lot to work with here. I'm pointing around, as I'm downtown Detroit, and the revitalized downtown core has really caught the attention of a lot of the players. And as the more players we get here every year, we then get other people recruiting, not just myself. We get the players talking in the locker rooms at events, and they hear, they know, hey, I saw you played well at Rocket, or you won Rocket, or you've been there. Tell me about it. And we hope over time that'll just start to pay dividends, and we can start using if not the wisdom of crowds, the experience of the crowds that come here and players to go out and inform other players and continue to have a great field.
Do it on our behalf.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I keep saying, well, we did do this year one when we could, was schmooze the wives. And then they'll be like,
right.
Oh, I love Detroit. We're coming
Big
back to Detroit. Because huge, right? Huge part of it. We did do some fun stuff with them as well. And then I always tell people, like, even when I remember when I started, I thought, and I love everybody at the PGA. I had no idea what it took. And I remember as we got a little closer, someone's like, someone needs to order the bibs, like the caddy bibs. I'm like, what? The PGA doesn't just drop those off? Like, I'm thinking it's like an event in a box, and they're like, there's what you have to do. But no.
Yeah.
You have to do every single little tiny thing, right down to like all the vendors that you hire to, it takes an absolute village, and it's a labor of love, because everybody, loves it, but it's from the, people that are putting up the structures and, you again, continuing to have those conversations at the PGA and deciding what vendors we're going to use to put this whole event on. And, that's a lot of people to manage and juggle and, keep happy.
Yeah, no, it is. Like you said, it takes a village, and that's probably outside the dynamic of recruiting, probably the most underrated and certainly most underappreciated is just how many people beyond the great tournament team we have, the team at Rocket Mortgage and their family, their team members, the city of Detroit, as I put over here to the city building. Former Mayor Dennis Archer, our volunteer vice chair, goes out and helps to recruit and lead with Noel Johnson, our team, a massive 2,000 person volunteer force that the event could not happen. Couldn't afford to have it.
Couldn't.
Without.
And these are all, for the most part, too, they're all business owners or just people that are at other country clubs that love golf and they understand it and they want to be, part of it. And it's hot out
golf
there.
Club members. It is. They're giving us their time to make this happen. Otherwise, it would not be affordable or possible.
It wouldn't. So the city of Detroit is very lucky to have you, Mr. Langwell, to put all this together and bring all these parties together. So very quickly, what is your biggest, even though I know what it is, what is your biggest pet peeve on the golf course?
I don't know. I've got a few of them. I like,
Okay.
I
And I've done none of them, I'm sure.
no, no, none of them at all. I mean, pace of play, whether, it's not about playing good or bad, it's just playing with pace. Whether
Thanks.
you're a good player or not a good player, you can do so, you know, with pace and keep up with the group in front of you and allow the group behind you to move at their own pace. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd probably be one of them.
Just keep it
Keep it
moving
moving.
and keep the cart
Keep it
away from
moving.
the green. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it moving. Do you think it is I learned something and I want to let all the ladies know out there that if they are golfing with a gentleman, it is the gentleman thing to do to rake her bunkers. Is that not correct?
That is correct. It is. It is something that,
I didn't know this.
frankly,
I learned these things.
yeah, you absolutely should do that. It's the right thing to do. Frankly, you should do it for other playing participants that you have, and especially if they've hit a shot out of the bunker and it didn't go that far, and they have to walk over only feet away to hit it again. In the spirit
Yeah.
of pace of play and manners, maybe get in there and just rake it for them so they can go tackle their other shot and
And keep
hopefully
moving.
get recovered.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but it kind of is because, I mean, that's really what the program LipOut with Latona started anyway, was to sort of educate people as they're going through so they know what makes sense. And I'm still learning all the time. So whenever I learn something,
Mm-hmm.
I like to make sure, people are aware of it. Do you have any advice for women on the golf course?
Any advice for women on the golf course? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, overall, I see there is I see it all the time with women playing. And this goes for of any ability. And it's really the having the confidence to go out there and know that, look, you may not be good, you may not have played a lot of golf and feel intimidated by it, but being nervous about it isn't going to help the outcome. And it's easier said than done, but it's true at all levels of golf, is that you can hit a golf shot, tentative, you can hit a golf shot with nerves, you can hit a golf shot worrying about it, or you can hit a golf shot not worrying about it. And you'll find that over time that the outcome, by not worrying about the outcome, is oftentimes improved, and then it's assured that worrying about the outcome doesn't improve it. So I would say just, hey,
You're
relax.
talking directly to me.
I'm answering the question. You happen to be a woman who plays golf, so I suppose I am. But,
Mm-hmm. Who normally, we'll just let everybody know, doesn't play like I should when I play with you.
right. Well,
Because I'm
maybe
nervous
because
because you're
I'd be
so
a little
good.
too worried about the outcome. And that aside, so I think not worrying about the outcome and knowing that, the nerves that you may be feeling, the same nerves that anyone feels at any level. And that is the great battle, right, between the years
Mm-hmm.
of finding a way to turn off the worry and just know that it's not going to help the outcome.
Right. I actually just heard somebody say the other day, if you can, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It's like with anything, like even doing these interviews or whatever. Instead of saying whatever, the energy is the same whether you're nervous or you're excited.
Right.
So if you just say, I'm excited, I'm excited about this, you're going to have a better outcome than if you say, ugh, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
It just gives you this different, yeah. So I just heard somebody say that the other day, and I thought, oh, I have to remember
Yeah, that's a
that
good one.
whenever I play. Yeah. So, so last but not least, from a question perspective, and then I'll get to the number 5 reason why I'm just glad that you are on the program.
Okay.
Do you agree that there's a lack of fashion for women on the golf course? Do you know? I don't know if you can answer it.
Yeah,
Would
no.
you agree? Would you agree?
I would agree
there's a
with that.
lack
I
of
think there's
fashion?
I think there's what I call a familiar look,
Good way to put it.
on the golf course. And I'm not saying it's good or bad or not critiquing. I'm certainly not one that should be critiquing fashion, lacking a lot of it myself. But I would say this observation standpoint, there's a rather familiar look, and my sense is that there'd be more of a desire for maybe have a more unique look.
Better options.
Better options.
Yeah. You always look like a golfer. I don't know what you're talking about. You always look like a golfer, a well-dressed golfer.
Okay, well, thanks for saying that. Yeah. Well, fortunately, we have partners like, Grayson and Puma and others
right.
and Levelware and that help me with that. So that's
right. So it's not like you have to actually go shopping or anything.
No, I
they
just kind of fall into it.
Send it to Jason. Right. So the number 5 reason why I was excited to have you on the program is because I truly think that you are one of the best leaders that I have ever worked with. And I actually read something that's on your LinkedIn, actually, that I was like, there we go. And somebody had said about you that you are an individual that you would want in the foxhole with you, which is true.
That's very nice of Brian.
Yeah, yep. It's true. And obviously, I feel like I've been to war with you on many occasions with all the stuff that we've done. So that's very, very true. You are brilliant at what you do, which I've told you before. And you're very supportive. You allow your team to do their thing, which is why I think we have had the success, because we love what we do. You never fail to mention your team in all of your media efforts. Even today, you mentioned your team, and which means a lot. And I don't know if everybody, picks up on that. And I feel very blessed to have you as my boss and as our first male guest, and to call you a friend. So thank you, Mr. Jason Langwell, for finally allowing me to interview you on LipOut with Latona.
Well, thank you. Very nice of you to say that. Appreciate the kind words. The feelings are mutual, as you well know. And yeah, I'm honored. It's a privilege to be here on your 10th episode, and excited about 10 more.
And hopefully you're going to share it, because it'll probably be the most watched one, because probably now I'm like, where do I go from here? Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to have to find some celebrities, but for everybody that's watching, please like if you can, subscribe, and certainly share it so that we can spread all of Jason's wisdom to everyone. So thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Stacey. See ya.